Hey everyone, I'm Anna. I'm a wayfinder and I work for the Cornwall Memory Cafe Network. And today I'm at Penryn Memory Cafe in Cornwall. We thought it would be a great idea to interview some carers, get their lived experience, first-hand ideas and feelings about what it means to be a full-time carer looking after a loved one. Hi everybody, we're at Penryn Memory Cafe and I'm interviewing Gill, who is the secretary of Penryn Memory Cafe. So we wanted to ask Gill some interesting questions about her opinions around what she sees around caring. So Gill, thank you so much. Can you tell us what you love when you see carers and you see people at the cafe, the caring aspect of it? What do you love about it?
The dedication. The carers are so caring, and they're absolutely dedicated to the people they're caring for. And it blows me away because they give up their lives to care, and I sometimes feel that it's a very tough way to do things,
What do you see the biggest challenges for people in a caring role?
Having time for themselves, which is nearly impossible because, the people we're dealing with here with sort of early dementia, they're very unpredictable, and I feel that because the carers give up so much time out of love, obviously, that they draw the short straw really. The person with the dementia just sails along, and the carer is really doing a 24/7 job,
and they can get worn down.
And however much we try to support them with our memory cafes and doing stuff, I sometimes wonder whether it's enough. I see people with dementia. I'm looking at them today, getting worse and worse, and the carers are still there. And I just don't feel there's enough respite out there for people like that.
So if you had a magic wand, I reckon this is going to be where you're going to go then. If you had a magic wand and lots of money and you could decide how you would support carers, what would you...
Well, if possible, I'd like to give them more time for themselves, because by giving them time for themselves, you're energizing them to carry on. And I see people worn out with it, and especially with dementia, it because it affects people differently. Some people are much worse than others and more demanding of attention, and I just feel so sorry for them, and I feel pretty powerless to help. I can put them in the right direction, but the help really isn't there, is it?
So having a break, having respite,
and it doesn't have to be a long break. It could just be a couple of hours, and that's why when they come here, I say to the carers, leave your person here for 2 hours, and we'll look after them. But sometimes that's not possible. Because the person with the dementia doesn't really want to be away from their partner, their caring partner.
And Alan, tell us, as a carer, what do you love? Tell us the highlights. What do you love about being a carer?
Well, the satisfaction it brings when you're doing things and you see it's working right, and it puts the wife at ease and comfort, because she has terrible dementia, and you can see that she's reacting, and think there's benefit there. It's getting benefit.
So when everything's working well and you really feel valued.
Yes. I mean, we've lived in this bungalow 36 years.
Wow, is that in Penryn?
Yes, just up the road. And if it's shower time or meal time, we say, right, we'll go for our meal now, well, in the kitchen. And then you have to guide her and point her the way, and then she makes it herself.
That's brilliant.
Which is satisfaction.
So that gives you a great satisfaction.
Well, yes, because you know she's listened, she's understood.
That's amazing. And you're still giving her that freedom and
Oh, yes.
encouraging her
Yeah.
independence.
Yes, I don't force her.
No.
I sort of let her make her own decision, but make sure she's going the right way.
What challenges you as a carer?
Well, I suppose everything about it, really, to make sure I'm doing the right thing,
Yeah.
to make sure she's safe
Yeah.
and comfortable and whatever else.
And that's a challenge.
Yes.
So why would that be a challenge then?
Well, if I'm not doing the job right, it could be an accident, or she could finish up in a home
Wow.
for obvious reasons.
Yeah. So you feel that stress or that pressure?
Yes, yeah. I feel under pressure all the time.
Bless you.
But it is. We've been married 52 years, so it is what it is.
Wow, congratulations! If you had a magic wand and you could change the way things were, what would you?
I would turn it back at least 2 years.
Okay.
So, it doesn't sound the right word, back to normality. So Val was normal. I mean, none of us are normal, but you understand what I mean.
Yeah.
From the position she is now to being normal to what she was.
Yes.
I mean, when I look back 2 years, you think, well, what happened? Where did it go? What went wrong? But it was just sudden, it didn't go gradually.
Wow. So it was quite a shock.
Yes, it was. It was a shock to the system to realise the position we were in.
What do you do to look after you?
Nothing really. I just go along and do what I need to do. Wash and shave, shower, bed, meals. Need shopping, we go shopping. It's just routine.
So, and do you feel like you need looking after? Sometimes, yeah.
I had a shocking fall.
Did you?
It happens.
It's such an amazing thing that you're getting on as well, and
I'm
you're
82.
You're 82 and you're still caring.
Well, you have to do what you have to do.
You do.
Because if you don't, you go under.
It's true.
Or you've got people coming in all the time.
Yeah.
And then you lose your independence. And I don't want that. No, I want our independence as long as we can have it.
We're interviewing Jim Henson today, who is the chair of Penryn Memory Cafe. We wanted to ask you've been a carer of your wife.
Yeah.
Tell us, what were the joys? What was the love of being a carer? What brought the best out of you in that way?
That's difficult because she's now been dead 6 years, and she was 5 years before that in a care home, permanent care. So about 2 years before that, when we realised how she was deteriorating, I became a carer for her. I was helping her, I was doing cooking and everything else. But all the time you're doing it, you don't think of yourself as a carer because you've been married a long time and she's your partner. So you don't consider yourself a carer. Really, until it was one time when she went out. Well, we've got a small flat in South London.
Wow.
And she went out one morning to do some shopping, and she was missing for 48 hours. And I had it all, it was quite, I called the police and they searched, and of course, I just didn't know what to do. And if you don't know London, the flat is near Kingston, which is Wimbledon.
Yeah.
And she was found the next day wandering down near Heathrow. And she'd been wandering all that time, so it was difficult. But the good thing I will say about being a carer was that we had, because we had the flat in London, we had London Freedom Pass for over 60s. So the police took my number of my pass, they phoned London Transport, and within 10 minutes, London Transport said, yes, the number is 2 up from my card. And they said it was used on a 65 bus going so and so, it was used on so, and they could trace pretty well where she'd gone. Yeah, she was gone for a long time. But so that was the worst, when she was really getting bad, and it was frustrating, but I never felt that I was a carer.
We could wave a magic wand from your perspective as a carer and the chair of a memory cafe where you're always seeing carers.
Yeah.
If we could wave a wand and say, what would you think needs to be done for carers?
The difficulty is that, as I say, because it's your wife, you just do it as a normal, it's part of your life.
Yeah.
And I didn't realise till the social person, worker, whatever you call her, used to come round regularly to see Jean, and she was talking, and she said, oh, you know that you can apply for financial aid, and I said, well, I don't need it. She said, yes, you do. She said, you're doing a lot. She said, you do need help, and it was that set me on that path to knowing what I needed. But until that time, you just do it you're alone. You're doing it, and they don't sort of say, well, send you a letter and say, this is what you can apply for. You just carry on being normal,
So what would you do with the magic wand then? Do you have more awareness? What would you do?
Well, I think there is more awareness now. People are much more aware of what dementia and that is. Yeah, Jean had frontal lobe dementia, which was affected her mood swings like awful, and that's when they decided that she could no longer do, and they took her away, and I was quite devastated, but they moved her to Bodmin, and then that was it, fine for a while, and then, as I say, 5 years. The only good thing I would say from my point of view was that whenever I went to visit her, she never ever asked if I was going to come to take her home.
She was happy where she was.
She seemed to be content